All right, energy window number 13. Welcome, everybody. This is running from August 5th to August 22nd. So, a couple weeks, a little bit more than 2 weeks, and it's going to be called The Soul's Journey. Are we headed for perfection or purpose? And it's a trick question, as you'll see. We are getting the energies that will put us individually on our higher calling, hopefully. Some will feel very positive and hopeful, and other energies will feel very conflicted, negative. And that's just the way it is. And I'm going to show you all those, but big picture here, looking in the eclipse cycle itself, we're getting towards the end in this energy window, the end of the last eclipse cycle, and a new one is beginning. In fact, the next window will start on the 23rd of August, and it will extend into at least some of the eclipse window. All right. But this window, we're starting just after the new moon in Leo, because everybody except for the sun has left Leo. And so the energies, the backdrops change, and it extends all the way to just past a full moon in Aquarius. And in the middle, we're going to have a grand cross. And that's just a little sprinkling of the big energies. This is a big energetic window, a lot happening. And this is just to describe the first of it. We're in 5 August. This is after the new moon. And the moon has basically left Leo, and that creates a mutable earth Kung Pao because, well, I didn't show you mutable earth. Down here, we are looking at 7 mutable planets and then Earth. So mutable Earth. And it makes sense because you got Mercury retrograde, station retrograde, and Venus and Moon in Virgo, and then the quite a few other planets in mutable signs. So the backdrop's changed, and we're calling this synergy. You can see these strong alignments. So you've got a triple at the beginning of Virgo, squared over to Uranus, and one of those is strengthening. That's the Mercury retrograde is actually going to get stronger, and that Mercury square Uranus is an invention kind of alignment. And so with a Mercury retrograde might be a reinventing. And that's just part of this whole soul's higher calling kind of an alignment. It just adds to that context. But you have the triple planets with an inconjunct over to transformative Pluto. So we already talked about the pressure to change with Uranus. And so putting it all together, we're looking at the overarching archetype is the soul's sacred synthesis. So it's an individual journey. That's first of all. We just coming off of that leadership window where I had leadership training. And then the next energy window from here, so energy window 14, is going to be more of a collective one, or all of us together being morphed and changed. So this window is sandwiched in between, and it's a very individual journey, in my opinion. This holistic journey of growth and transformation weaves together the strands of practical mastery, creative realization, and the quest for ultimate meaning and spiritual wholeness. So it has to be an individual's journey, and it is supported in the astrology, obviously. This window provides the tools, techniques, and discerning focus necessary to optimize one's talents, resources, daily habits, and make sure they're in alignment with our individual values and goals. It also changes the ego attachments, illusions, and limitations, initiating a profound process of self-transformation and rebirth. And that does include all of these alignments, and they're all very tight, all getting tighter around 19 August. That's the buzz word. That's the date that I want you to burn into your skull. Right now, we're only on 5th August at the very beginning, but all this comes to a head on the 19th. I can't wait to show you that. So at the onset of our energy window, with these alignments, you may feel an increased sense of self-awareness, self-mastery, and practical skills. You might have opportunities for profound personal growth, self reinvention. Talked about that square over to Uranus. But at the same time, you might have a tendency towards perfectionism, self criticism. That'll be a big one. And analysis paralysis, overthinking everything. Difficulty with surrender or letting go might be a part of that. Now we're into the 7th of August, and I want to show you one of the really hopeful and positive aspects. And on the same day, I'll show you the next chart where it may not feel so positive, but I really want to make sure that you get an opportunity to feel this or look for the energies of Sun sextile Jupiter. This at 8:36 a.m. on the 7th of August is when this goes exact. Sun sextile Jupiter. And this is the hero's journey to jovial greatness. As we can see from this picture that doesn't really want to come up here for some reason. So basically, this individual has already climbed their journey and they're at the top. But this is the imagination before you reach the top. This is the hope. This is the evolutionary quest to actualize one's fullest potential. So this is the hope that you're going to be at the top of this mountain by the end of this energy window. And what does it mean to be there? Well, and align one's personal will with the larger will of the divine. So on your higher calling, like a mythic hero setting out on a grand adventure, armed with both the innocence of a child and a hard-earned wisdom of an elder. The seeker on this path must navigate the tests and trials of the ego, the shadows of the temptations of power, that's the Pluto, and the ultimate call to surrender to a higher source of guidance, the will to follow. So we just came off of that leadership thing, but this using and depending and having faith in the higher guidance is essential, and it's very positive. May feel with this one sextile increased vitality and charisma. You might feel an enhanced ability to inspire and uplift others with joy and optimism, and then just generally expansive and very opportunistic. But I caution you, that's not the only thing happening on the 7th of August. Remember, we're at the beginning of this energy window. So later on in the evening, 10:12 p.m. Central Daylight Time on the 7th of August, Mercury retrograde is going to meet Venus. And this is when it happens exactly. But it's unfortunately like two drunks because Venus is in detriment in Virgo, probably because there's so many details that are overwhelming to Venus. It's hard to be beautiful when you see all the flaws. And then Mercury is in retrograde, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. So we got basically two drunks that have ominous shadow rising. And one of my pictures is the kind of a storm setting. You can see the dark clouds coming. And this is the projecting hypercritical hypochondriac is the theme, is the archetype of this energy. So now this picture is just worried and hyper self-critical with a very critical mind. It helps add to the soul's sacred journey once they can see how their critiques are of themselves and not of the world at large. So this is when deep learning ensues. And this is not out there, but within. The storm is within. We do have, I will point out, just a foreshadowing to the future. We have this grand trine, and I want to point out that they're all on the cusps. So it's not an Earth entirely, but it's like a cusp grand trine. And these are all going to resolve to where we're going to see several grand Earth trines in the next energy window, which is going to be the Earth plane. But let's come back to this energy window 13. And here we are right in the middle of it. 14 August, Grand Cross. Oh boy. And at 10:21 a.m., we are seeing a perfected conjunction with Jupiter and Mars. And that's just one of the points. So in a Grand Cross, what we have is at least four planets aligned all in 90 degrees. So we have one point is Jupiter. On the opposite end is the Sagittarius moon. Then the other points are Venus and Saturn on that continuum. So when we put all this together, well, first of all, the two continuums, Venus and Saturn, make the matchmaker's crisis. This is the getting lost, ideals and responsibilities collide, and the quest for meaning hits reality checks. And then you have Mars and Jupiter opposite the Sagittarius moon, and that creates the Coyote's crossroads. The restless hunger for expansion meets karmic roadblocks, having to choose between a misaligned adventure or escapism. And remember, Grand Cross doesn't feel all that great. It's a massive continuum pressure. It's a pressure system. So you got that storm cloud metaphorically, but in this case, it's more of an alignment issue, an alignment questions. In this intense Grand Cross, we find the disillusioned pilgrim standing at a crossroads, buffeted by strong and seemingly contradictory cosmic forces. Meanwhile, the pilgrim's Virgoan satchel of maps and ideals, once a trusted guide, seems woefully inadequate. The Gemini's coyote spirit whispers riddles and jokes. And so kind of playing along that theme, jokes and paradoxes. You're going the wrong way. Remember that movie? Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. And I think Steve Martin just yells back and says, how the heck does he know where I'm going? Well, he's really going on the wrong way, the wrong direction of the freeway. The pilgrim's journey to meaning and mastery feels blocked at every turn, yet these very obstacles are trickster medicine in disguise, designed to shatter old paradigms and expectations. So is this shearing and this looking like a storm cloud metaphorically in the mind, and the hypercritical hypochondriac that is within is indicative of needing to switch directions to get on your higher path. So putting all this Grand Cross energies together, it might feel like discovering humor and wisdom and paradox and plot twists. There's a lot of irony in these continuums. Quantum leaps in consciousness through initiatory trials and labyrinths. So it is sort of confusing, mind-bending, but beware of loss of faith in the journey. You can get kind of caught up in all this pressure and overthinking things. You can dovetail into cynicism and bitterness or despair even. Then we get into the 19th, and I'm going to shift gears and show you a different chart. This one was a wow for me. Seeing all of these are big alignments. We have these are all the alignments that go exact on the 19th of August. And this is why I want you to remember 19th of August. This is going to be a big energetic day. First, you have a full moon in Aquarius. Then you have basically a T-square on Uranus from the full moon. The moon and the sun opposite ends, and then I'm going to show you the chart, but you have Uranus in a extremely tight T-square. And then you have Venus square Jupiter goes exact. And then you have Venus opposed Saturn goes exact. And then you have Sun conjunct Mercury goes exact. So Mercury Cazimi. All these are exact on the 19th. To make matters even more interesting, you have one of those aspects was Venus and Saturn opposition. Well, they're also contraparallel to each other while they're in opposition. So this is akin to the Tarot's Fool encountering the Tower, an inevitable lightning strike to shatter illusions and outdated structures. So this is definitely the I almost thought the Grand Cross was going to be the climax. No, I think 19th is the big kung pao of this energy window. And here is a other version of the chart on the 19th. So you've got the full moon in Aquarius, and you also have the T-square on Uranus. And look how exact that is. So you've got Uranus at 27 degrees Taurus, 11 minutes. Well, the full moon is at 27 degrees, 15 minutes. That's only 4 minutes off of a perfect T-square. That is incredible, incredibly tight. Only 4 degrees from exact. So this is definitely, this T-square is sort of the mad scientist, the cosmic rebel, and that's the full moon. And then, most of you already know Uranus being on the T-square is the ruler of the full moon in Aquarius. So Uranus being energetically full up, pressured in this. So individualism, freedom, independence, setting on my highest path, the sovereign shapeshifter or the disruptive innovator, the cosmic rebel. All these archetypes are combined together. And then we also have to include those other alignments that we talked about. So we have Sun and Mercury going exact. All these things happen on this same day. Mercury retrograde and Sun. So Mercury Cazimi. We have Venus square Jupiter, and that's over here. This is another T-square. So there's two T-squares, and they're both very tight, but Venus and Mars and Saturn all in a T-square. This one is a slower acting because it doesn't have the moon in it. And so this T-square is going to develop, going to get stronger. And then once this goes out, dies out, then we have the new energy window. Almost knocked over my tea. All right. So we have, putting all these together, we have the sovereign shapeshifter or the disruptive innovator. The overall energetic signature is the disruptive innovator. This maverick force is intent on shaking up the status quo from every angle, and it catalyzes evolutionary change from the inside out. And while forward thinking and inventive, it requires conscious integration of the shadow and discerning navigation of the distractions to channel the energy effectively. It's the mad scientist, the cosmic rebel. Here's your opportunities to experience this: heightened access to revolutionary ideas and solutions, amplified courage to challenge limiting beliefs and structures, increased potential for quantum leaps and growth, and expanded mental flexibility and openness to explore multiple paths. So now that cosmic rebel and disruptive innovator is still very strong. And what I'm talking about is the Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Now the moon is conjunct with Saturn, so that makes that even a stronger T-square. But we see the full moon T-square is already gone by 20th of August. That's a day later. But we have a strengthening Mercury retrograde and Sun square Uranus right there. And we have the mischievous storyteller hacking the matrix with this square. With the Mercury, the trickster moonwalking backwards and joining the Leo sun for a cosmic identity crisis, all the while confronting rebel Uranus in earthy Taurus. We have quite the mischievous storyteller on our hands. The more shocking, the better, because when these people talk, if a child was born here, they are inevitably, when they speak, they're going to be speaking with shocking information and setting fire to old belief systems as they talk. Shakes the sun's ego with realization that its kingdom may be built on unreliable sand. So now we have a gradual fade out is expected from 22 August. The T-square on Mars and Jupiter have gotten stronger because of this. It's a slower alignment than if we had the moon on that T-square. So it's still there. And now with Venus as the fastest moving planet in this T-square, now it's kind of going to start shifting over to Neptune. But it'll age out before that tightens up. The T-square will age out, but the grand Earth trine later will get stronger. And that's how it's a gradual fade out of this energy window. And, it starts with that more positive alignment with the sextile, Sun sextile Jupiter, but that ages out about halfway in this energy window, and then the storm begins with the internal storm. The shadow rises, the T-squares, the grand cross. The 19th, that energy window, the cosmic rebel, is all there. And then we just basically wait for that to age out for the energy window to end. And by the way, Sun entering into Virgo is about when that happens. So this is the 22nd of August at 9:54 a.m. That's when the Sun exits Leo and heads into Virgo. So now that us individuals have been shaken up, redirected, realigned, and reinvented towards our own individual path and soul path, the next window will work on realigning the entire collective Earth plane itself. We will see grand Earth trines, and yes, that is a plural, multiple grand Earth trines, strong mutable Earth backdrop, and a full moon lunar eclipse, and a lot more. And so to be continued. But what do you guys think of this energy window? What do you guys think of the 19th? That's the big Kung Pao full moon plus all these exact alignments. Big ones: Venus square Jupiter, Venus opposed Saturn, Sun conjunct Mercury, Venus contra parallel Saturn. Wow. Yeah, big one. Certainly a climax. All right, everybody. This is a wrap. Energy window 13 from August 5th through August 22nd, 2024. Get prepared for the soul's journey. And don't forget that there's positive outcomes on this, even though the clouds look really dark and the storm looks like it's in full gear. All right, everybody, we will see you in the next energy window. And by the way, if you like this, I also do weekly energy reports. These are called surf reports, where we both outline for the next week. Every week, we can look at the major influences, and then we also have a solution for each week, behavioral solution. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.